And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the four beasts say, as it were the voice of thunder, "Come and see." Revelation chapter 6 verse 1. The book of Revelation, written by the Apostle John during his exile on the island of Patmos, is a divine revelation filled with prophetic visions. This enigmatic text has been interpreted in various ways over the centuries, with some theological currents seeing the events described as metaphors for past occurrences, while others believe they predict the future of humanity. Within this book lies a scroll sealed with 7 seals, whose opening is reserved exclusively for Jesus Christ. Each seal, when broken, triggers apocalyptic events that precede the final judgment. The mystery and intrigue of the apocalypse capture the imagination and fear of many. Are we witnessing the signs of these seals in our current world? Conflicts, pandemics, and natural disasters seem to align with these prophecies. Are we on the brink of the end times? This video invites you to explore these questions, diving deep into biblical revelations and modern interpretations, with a dynamic and engaging narrative. Prepare for a journey where mystery and fear intertwine, evoking deep reflections on the fate of humanity. Since its origin in the 1st century, the apocalypse has been seen as a window into the end times, a divine revelation of the events that would precede the second coming of Jesus Christ. Some theologians and scholars believe these visions refer to specific historical events that have already occurred, while others maintain that they describe future events that are about to unfold. Immersed in a context of persecution and hope, John wrote Revelation to encourage Christians to persevere in their faith, even in the face of adversity. The powerful and symbolic images in the text, giant monsters, extraordinary miracles, and cosmic catastrophes, create a rich and evocative narrative that continues to fascinate and frighten readers to this day. Are we living in the days prophesied in Revelation? Are the wars, pandemics, and natural disasters we see today signs of the end times? And if these prophecies are being fulfilled before our eyes? The 7 seals of the apocalypse are mentioned in the book of Revelation, written by the Apostle John during his exile on the island of Patmos. This book, which is the last in the Bible, details prophetic visions about the end times and the second coming of Christ. Each seal, when opened, triggers events that symbolize divine judgments and catastrophes that must occur before the return of Jesus. These seals are seen as coded messages that John received from God, aimed at revealing the challenges and trials that humanity will face at the end of times. The opening of the seals is a moment of great significance, as it marks the revelation of divine plans for humanity and the earth, serving as a prelude to the final judgment. The first seal, pestilence *. The first seal is opened, revealing the rider on the white horse, commonly associated with pestilence and false prophecies. In many religious traditions, pestilence is interpreted as divine punishment or a test of faith. This rider does not engage in direct combat. Although he carries a bow, his true weapon is deception and corruption, leading many away from the path of light. This rider is often associated with the figure of the Antichrist, whose goal is to divert as many people as possible from the path of truth and faith. For many, the growing abuse of drugs, the immorality of social relationships, and the frequent renunciation of faith are just a few examples that this seal has already been opened. The first seal not only frightens but also makes us reflect on the insidious influence of false prophecies and the devastating impact of epidemics on human and spiritual history. The concept of pestilence goes beyond mere physical disease. It can be seen as a spiritual illness, where the corruption of the spirit is even more lethal than any bodily disease. False doctrines, rampant materialism, and the growing disbelief in moral and spiritual values are aspects of this pestilence that infiltrates modern societies, corrupting values and spreading disorder. The second seal, war *. When the second seal is opened, the rider on the red horse emerges, bringing war. He wields a sword, inciting violence among nations. Wars and conflicts are recurring themes in various religious scriptures. The growing diplomatic tensions and the imminence of future nuclear conflicts evoke this apocalyptic scenario. The figure of the rider of war reminds us of ancient stories of divine battles and the fragility of world peace, provoking reflections on our ability to coexist peacefully and the devastating consequences of armed conflicts. War is not limited to battlefields. It manifests in political, economic, and social disputes, corroding harmony between nations and individuals. The rider on the red horse not only promotes physical violence but also division and hatred among people. In an increasingly polarized world, ideological battles and social tensions reflect this ongoing war, which threatens global stability and peace. The third seal. Famine *. The third seal reveals the rider on the black horse, a symbol of famine and scarcity. He holds a balance, representing the unequal distribution of resources. The Bible frequently mentions famine as a sign of difficult times, as in the story of Joseph in Egypt. The growing social inequality and the scarcity of essential resources today are alarming omens of this prophecy, where famine becomes an imminent global threat. This rider forces us to confront the reality of our unsustainable resource management. If we continue to manage the planet in the same way, the global damage could be irreversible. Famine can be understood as a lack of justice, compassion, and equity. In many parts of the world, opulence and waste coexist alongside misery and deprivation. The rider on the black horse warns us of the consequences of a society that ignores the needs of the most vulnerable, promoting a culture of excess for some while others suffer from basic needs. The fourth seal. Death *. When the fourth seal is opened, the rider on the pale horse, the personification of death, is released. This rider brings with him the shadow of mortality, reminding us of the fragility of life and the inevitability of the end. Mounted on his pale and ghostly horse, he will be responsible for taking a quarter of the population, reaping the souls sacrificed by the other riders. This seal evokes deep fear, highlighting the constant presence of death and the devastation it can cause on a large scale, provoking reflections on the transient nature of human existence. Death, in the context of the apocalypse, is not just the physical end but also the extinction of hopes and dreams. The rider on the pale horse symbolizes the arrival of a time when mortality becomes inescapable and life is abruptly interrupted, whether by natural disasters, wars, or pandemics. He reminds us that regardless of the power or wealth we possess, we are all subject to the same inevitable fate. The fifth seal. Martyrs *. When the fifth seal is opened, John sees the souls of the martyrs who were killed for their faith and did not submit to false prophets. They cry out for justice and vengeance, asking God to judge those responsible for their deaths. These martyrs are remembered for their resistance and devotion, even in the face of persecution. They represent the struggle for truth and the need for perseverance in faith, reminding us of the great trials and sacrifices made by those who maintain their unwavering faith, even in the most adverse circumstances. The martyrs symbolize spiritual strength that endures even under the harshest conditions. In a world where truth is often distorted, the faith and courage of the martyrs inspire those who face adversities and challenges. The fifth seal invites us to reflect on our own spiritual strength and how far we are willing to fight for our beliefs in the face of injustice and oppression. The sixth seal. Cosmic destruction *. Upon opening the sixth seal, John describes a scene of final annihilation. Stars fall from the skies, the earth is displaced, and the atmosphere is destroyed. This seal brings images of cosmic catastrophes and total disorder, evoking a deep fear of apocalyptic destruction. Some say this could be the result of the Third and Final World War, leading to global collapse. The vision of the sixth seal confronts us with the fragility of our world and the imminent possibility of a cataclysm that could end life on Earth. Cosmic destruction refers not only to the physical end of the world but also to the collapse of everything we know and value. The sixth seal is a reminder of the impermanence of earthly things and the need to seek a higher purpose beyond material values. The vision of a collapsing universe challenges us to rethink our priorities and consider the transient nature of our existence. The seventh seal. Final judgment *. After the occurrence of all the mentioned seals, the seventh seal marks the beginning of the final judgment, where 144,000 people are marked to be saved and taken to the new paradise. In the seventh seal, according to prophecy, the fury of heaven descends to restart the world. poisoned seas, aberrations that torture sinners, and millions of riders who kill a third of humanity. At the sound of the last trumpet, Jesus will return to judge the living and the dead and take charge of humanity, paving the way for an eternity without death or suffering. The seventh seal is the climax of the apocalyptic revelation, where the final destiny of humanity is decided. It symbolizes the ultimate judgment, where every action, good or bad, is weighed on the divine scale. The vision of the final judgment challenges us to reflect on how we live our lives and the choices we make daily. This seal reminds us that, in the end, we will all be called to account. Beliefs point out that the first 5 seals have already been opened, bringing suffering and destruction. Conflicts, epidemics, and natural disasters we witness today may be signs that we are experiencing these prophecies. The opening of the seals and the constant presence of the riders of the apocalypse remind us of the fragility of our existence and the urgency of reflecting on our paths. You may not believe in the biblical apocalypse, but it's still a bit frightening. The first 5 seals of the apocalypse, each unleashing terrifying events, seem to resonate with our current reality. Devastating pandemics, global conflicts, and increasingly frequent natural disasters make us question: are we witnessing the end of times? Science and faith collide as humanity faces severe climate change, mass extinctions, and a crisis of moral values. The Bible warns us of the need for reflection and change. Are we prepared for what's to come? Could faith and compassion save our society from the prophesied chaos? Share your opinion in the comments. And don't miss our next video, where we'll talk about 10 things the Bible forbids that you do every day. Now on your screen, you'll see 2 more videos about mysteries beyond the Bible. Choose one, and we'll see you there.